When you look around your town, the malls, the main streets, those giant big box stores, they just kind of feel like they've always been there, right? But the way our world is designed is no accident. Not at all. It's a really carefully crafted system, shaped by some powerful economic and social forces, and it all follows this kind of hidden logic. Have you ever really stopped and wondered why all the car dealerships are clumped together on one strip? Or why that massive mall was built right there, of all places? Why is one street just buzzing with life, and the street right next to it is, practically empty?
Well, that's what we're going to get into. We are going to decode the secrets of our shopping world. We're going to uncover the logic behind everything, from the giant suburban malls that pretty much defined a generation to the revitalized main streets that are shaping our cities today.
And our story really kicks off with a place a lot of us grew up with, the shopping mall. See, after the war, with everyone moving to the suburbs and falling in love with their cars, the mall became the undisputed king of retail. It was this climate-controlled, one-stop destination for literally everything you could need. But here's the thing, not all malls are created equal.
Okay, so there's actually a whole hierarchy. At the bottom, you've got your local neighborhood center. That's for your day-to-day stuff, serving a pretty small area. Take a step up from that and you get the community mall. It's bigger, usually anchored by a supermarket or a discount department store. And then, at the absolute top of the food chain, you have the regional mall. This thing is a massive, enclosed destination that can pull in shoppers from dozens and dozens of kilometers away. Each tier is a perfectly calculated piece of the puzzle.
But just when the mall seemed untouchable, the whole retail landscape was about to be completely flipped on its head. A new kind of store showed up, one that cared way less about atmosphere and way more about two things: massive scale and ruthless efficiency. This was the dawn of the big box era.
The concept itself is actually pretty simple. Just build these enormous warehouse-style buildings and pack them to the gills with a huge selection of goods at rock-bottom prices. The whole business model, whether it was for groceries or electronics, was to buy in immense bulk, slash your overhead, and then pass those savings directly on to you, the customer. So if one of these huge stores is a major draw, what do you think happens when you group a bunch of them together? Well, developers had a light bulb moment and realized they could create an undeniable retail magnet. And just like that, the Power Center was born. Basically, a collection of these giants all in one convenient, super car-friendly location.
Now, this explosion in scale wasn't just about building bigger buildings. It actually forced some incredible innovation behind the scenes. To manage these huge operations, retailers had to pioneer things like hyper-efficient distribution systems, real-time inventory tracking, and even in-store tech like self-checkouts. And all of it was designed to lower costs, with savings that ultimately made their way to us.
But the reign of pure efficiency was about to get a major challenger: e-commerce. All of a sudden, physical stores couldn't just compete on price and selection alone. To survive, they had to offer something that Amazon couldn't just deliver to your door. They had to offer an experience.
And this shift basically created two totally competing philosophies of retail. On one side, you still have the Power Center, which is all about pure utility. You get in, you buy what you need for cheap, and you get out. But on the other side, you now have the Lifestyle Center, which isn't just designed for buying things, but for creating a genuinely enjoyable, memorable experience. So how do they create this experience? Well, instead of a giant box and a sea of parking, you get these open-air, almost village-like settings. You get walkable, tree-lined streets, unique little boutiques, and restaurants with patios. The whole goal is to create a place where people actually want to spend their time, not just their money. And you know what's really interesting? This whole focus on experience didn't just stay out in the suburbs. It also helps bring our city's traditional shopping districts roaring back to life. Planners and communities started reinvesting in their downtowns and main streets, making them more walkable, unique, and just fun places to be again. Okay, so we've seen what gets built. But how on earth do developers decide where to build it? Well, it's not just guesswork. It's not throwing a dart at a map. It's actually a science, and it's based on a few core principles of how we all behave. So here's a perfect example. Think about it for a second. Why are all the big furniture stores or the car dealerships always clustered together? It seems kind of weird, right? To set up shop right next to your biggest competitors? But there's a really powerful logic at play here. It all starts with this concept called range. And it's simple, really. It's just the maximum distance you are willing to travel for something. So for your morning coffee, your range might just be a few blocks. But for a new car,
That's a major infrequent purchase. You'll travel much, much further. And you better believe every retailer knows the range of their products.
And that idea of range leads directly to our next concept, clustering. See, the reason those car dealerships are all grouped together is because developers know you're making a special long-range trip. By putting all the options in one place, they make it super easy for you to compare. You trade a longer drive for a much shorter search. It's a win-win.
Then you've got the threshold. Think of this as the minimum number of potential customers a business needs to survive. A little convenience store has a really low threshold. It can pretty much survive anywhere. But a high-end luxury boutique, that needs a large and often very specific population base to even think about opening its door.
And what pulls all of this together is the simple force of competition. It basically just means that if the price, the selection, and the service are all about the same, people are almost always going to choose the closer option. It's human nature. And this basic principle is what carves out the natural market areas for everyday businesses like supermarkets and pharmacies.
But, developers can't just play with these economic rules on an empty map. It's not the Wild West. Every single one of these decisions about range, clustering, and threshold has to fit inside this complex web of city planning, zoning laws, and land use regulations that ultimately say what can be built, where it can be built, and how.
So where's this all going? What's next? Well, the latest evolution in retail development is trying to solve a lot of the problems of the past by essentially putting a small city inside a single building. For decades, the model was to separate everything, where we live, where we work, and where we shop, and that design led to a ton of traffic and urban sprawl. The modern solution is to weave it all back together. These mixed-use developments try to create density and vibrancy by combining retail, offices, and homes all in one place.
And you can see this concept most clearly in the modern high-rise, which really does function like a vertical village. You've got public transit and shops on the ground floor for easy access. Above that, you've got parking, then a bunch of floors of office space. And way at the top, with the best views, you have residential condos and all their amenities. It's an entire ecosystem stacked right on top of itself. So when you step back, what this whole journey shows us is that our retail world is never, ever static. It is constantly evolving. From the simple little corner store to the suburban mall to the complex vertical village, it's always adapting to new tech and, most importantly, to our own changing wants and needs as a society. And that leaves us with a really powerful question for the future. In an age where you can get almost anything delivered right to your door, where online shopping is the absolute peak of convenience and efficiency, what then is the real purpose of a physical store, and what does it need to become to not just survive, but to actually thrive?